Well, welcome to the Monday Money Tip podcast presented by Fully Funded Life. My name is Joe Sangle, and we're happy that you've joined us on this Monday, or maybe a little day later if you're joining us a little late. So excited you joined us. We are releasing this episode on
May 8th.
That's right. And it's episode number 253.
53.
And this month, as we've been doing this year, we've been featuring a certain topic and working around it as a series. And this month, we're working on what topic?
Yes. So this month, we're talking about coaching. So last week, we talked about the importance of coaching, specifically financial coaching. And then this episode, we're going to talk about how to select a great coach.
Yes. And that is the voice of Megan Hibbert, my co-host. I failed to name you. I apologize.
It's okay. Forgive you this
the
time.
Small
this
oversight.
Time.
Are you doing well today?
Yeah, doing good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Jordan's doing great.
Mm-hmm.
And the three boys.
They're doing
That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's great. My boy and my two girls are doing great. It's awesome. Great. Very busy. You know, I've got 10-year gap between my first and second, and you got what, 2.5 years from number one to
3 years.
2 extra.
Yeah. Bonus.
There we go. So this month we are talking about coaching, and last time we talked about what?
The importance of coaching.
Yes, and we said the importance of coaching overall,
Mm-hmm.
and then we kind of focused in on financial coaching.
Yep.
Today we're going to talk about what?
Yep. So today, how to select a great coach.
Yes.
So you might have listened to last week's episode and said, hey, that's great. I know I need a coach, but how do I go about actually selecting a coach? So here we go.
So, you know, really what we're going to do is we're going to share the process that we use to select financial coaches for our Fully Funded Life community.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, as I like to say, we've trained like 3,500 coaches over the U.S. and Canada, and at least 5 of them are good. And so you don't like my joke.
I don't.
You know, so we've selected 5 of them to be coaches,
Mm.
you know, but, you know, I'm confident.
We
hundreds of
have
them.
to be
That's
selective because we only want the best for our Fully Funded Life members.
There we go. And so we're going to talk about that. But listen, you can apply the same principles, these same processes to find great coaches for you. And listen, I encourage you to have great coaches in your life for marriage coaching, for parenting coaching, for spiritual growth, for physical fitness and health, as well as financial coaches. So this just does not stop with finances, right? And so here's the deal. We're going to talk about, you know, we're going to call it the ideal characteristics of a great financial coach.
Oh, you could do a voiceover with that.
Did you like that?
No.
Okay.
That's good.
So we only listed about 721 ideal characteristics of a great financial coach. We're not going to bore everyone with them. So we're going to pick and choose a few of these words here.
Sure.
So choose 3 or 4 of your favorite words.
Yep. All right. So, you know, one would be winning with their own money.
What?
That would be
You
important.
would want your financial coach to be winning with their own money?
It's a wild concept, I know.
I'm just shocked, stunned, hit with lightning. Pardon me while I recover. Now listen, I state this because a lot of people are allowing individuals in their family, coworkers, colleagues to speak into their financial situation, and these people are broke.
Yeah.
They have managed to spend all of their money with such rapidity, with such speed, that they should be given a prize. And they're so broke that when you look up broke in the dictionary, their picture's there, right? And so why would you listen to them?
Yeah.
But if you're listening to outside voices that are influencing your money decisions, you need to ask the question, are those people winning with their money? And notice Megan did not say have the appearance of winning with money.
Ooh.
Very important. A lot of people are what they call in Texas, all hat and no cattle. They look good, but they're dead. Their balance sheet is real bad. So they need to be winning with their own money. Okay.
Yep.
What's another one that
All
you
right.
like?
Another one, willing to coach regularly.
Yeah.
It's important.
They
If they're
gotta
not
be
willing to
available.
do it, then might not be
You
a
know,
good person.
some people, they've won with their money, but you know, they may not be willing to dive into somebody else's finances.
Or they're like busy with a capital B, like all the time busy, you know?
And some people, you know, they get stressed out because they cannot fathom living life with everything spent, you know, or with somebody who just lives in some sort of financial chaos, or they may not be able to tolerate somebody spending money in a way that they think is like crazy.
Yeah.
Right. Although it might be perfectly good for the other family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good.
All right.
Can I choose one? Okay.
I get this.
Okay, I'm going to choose one who's passionate,
Ooh.
that's fired up.
Yes.
Why is it? Now, listen, they can express their enthusiasm in ways that are different than me, right? If you notice, Megan, my co-host here, is calm, demure, kind. I'm like abrupt, harsh, encouraging, and fired up. And I feel all the feelings related to finances.
Yeah.
And I'm very enthusiastic.
Very.
But people can express that passion in different ways. So it's just important to think about that. You want them to be passionate about this topic because, you want them to be energized about the idea of understanding. If you have an investment advisor, a coach, you want them to be enthusiastic about tracking the markets and watching CNBC and going to Jim Cramer's whatever. And, that's what you want them to do because you don't want to do that. And you want them to glean the good knowledge and bring it to you. Okay?
Yep.
Passion makes them do that. If they're not passionate about it, they will just view it as a job and do the bare minimum. You don't want a bare minimum coach.
Yeah.
My other one is that I would like is in a coach is somebody who is a maximizer, somebody who can see potential in me and they can find my buttons to get it out of me.
Yeah.
Where even if I don't believe it, I'm like, well, I'm convinced that you believe it. So since you believe it, maybe we can try it.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're saying I can dunk a basketball. Well, I believe that you believe I can do it, but I don't know that I can do it.
Can you?
But I'm going to try it. Well, I used to. I'm getting ready to enter a new decade. And maybe I will try to dunk a volleyball by that time and then immediately schedule knee surgery. It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any other words that jumped out that you didn't share? Maybe we can put a list there, but there's like 20 here.
Yeah. I think the last one is accountability. They're able to keep you accountable. They're able to push you. They're able to, you don't want someone that's like, oh, you're like, well, I didn't do my budget last month. And they're like, all right, that's fine. We'll just, whatever. You want someone that's going to be like, okay, well, we said we were going to do it. So let's work on doing it. Like, hey, what if we're working on it right now? And then you can, they're pushing you. They're keeping you accountable. When you meet with them, they're going to ask you the questions.
Right. They've prepared for the next meeting.
Yes.
That's really good. Accountability. Now, coaches are many things, and we've just listed 5 or 6 of them. But there are some things that they just can't be. And a lot of times people mistakenly put this on their coach, and they're stunned or shocked when the coach, it turns out, doesn't measure up, so to speak. So one of the things that they're not is what?
Yeah, so they are not perfect.
They're not. They're just not.
Yeah.
So you got a financial coach. Do you think that financial coach do you seriously believe they will never make another poor financial decision?
No.
I mean, they are human.
Yeah.
They are not a robot. AI has not taken over that far.
Yeah.
So like they are going to make some money mistakes.
Right.
Right. And, I may or may not have made a money mistake in the last week. I don't know. I mean, when I look back, it might be a good decision. It might be a poor decision,
right.
But I made a decision with the information at hand. Okay. So I'm not perfect. Neither are you. Neither will be your financial coach. Okay. There's other things they're not. And what is that?
Yep. So they do not play the game.
Coaches don't play the game. They just do not play the game. There's people who say, I just wish that Joe Sangle could come manage my finances for me. No, you don't. Because here's what would happen. I would put that person on a budget and I would prioritize giving and I would prioritize saving up and investing for the future. And I would cut out all of your fun until you got that stuff in place. Yeah. And I would change how you dine out at restaurants, as in you wouldn't go. and then you would be mad at me because, I'm being mean with your money. And then you would bow up and say, well, it's my money. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Right? Because the fundamental fact is coaches can't play the game. They can send in the play. They can educate. They can lead the practice. But ultimately, it is incumbent upon the player to play the game, to do the practice, to put the repetitions in, and to be committed enough to follow the game plan. And listen, players, everybody, listen, it's playa. Listen, players, you've got to be willing to play the game, the money game. It is a money game. It has rules. Just like anything else in life, there's rules that guide winning with money, not winning with money. If you spend more money than you make every month and you do that for a long period of time, you are not going to win with money. That's not going to happen. If you choose to invest early and often and you keep doing that, it's inevitable. 100% of the time, you will win with money. That's a fact. So you've got to play the game. So let's talk about selecting this great coach when we set these parameters that they have these ideal characteristics and we've just remembered what they can't be for us. Let's talk about how to select a coach.
Yeah. So I think a lot of times when I think coaching, my mind naturally goes to like football, and maybe that's just how I was raised. And I don't know. It's just a good, I feel like it's a good analogy.
It's forever. We're in the desolation period of no football. It's baseball. And I love baseball. Yeah. But, it's kind of yawner compared to football.
It's okay. Long. But when you look at football recruiting, the players choose the program, but they also choose coaches because they're looking for someone who can help them achieve their individual plans, hopes, and dreams. Yeah. So let's think through that as we continue talking.
If you think about what's happening in the world of collegiate athletics, they're committing for maybe a year, right? And the coach has to recruit the player out of high school, and then they have to recruit him to stay each year. Because players can just move. Yeah. And it's the wild, wild west right now in recruiting. It's insane. But those players are moving around because they see a coach who developed a player similar to them and got them to where they wanted to be, whether that's the NBA or to the top of their position in college athletics, whatever it might be. The same is true for your financial coach. And so I want to talk about two types of coaches before we dive into selecting them. And I want all of our listeners to think about that there's really two types. One of them is, maybe we can put it on the screen so people can see it, but it's a content expert coach. And when we think of content expert, like what do you think of when you think of content experts?
Yeah, they're proficient or they're an expert in like one thing.
Yeah, my friend has called them a subject matter expert. Yeah. So what are some financial subjects that would be a content matter expert?
Yeah, so it could be insurance, investing, budgeting, maybe savings. A big one would be taxes, maybe.
Yeah. Think about that. If you have an insurance agent, they're a matter expert. They better be a matter expert on that. Investment, an investment advisor. They better be an expert in that. Budgeting, a budget coach should be really good at teaching on budgeting. Saving, a savings coach, somebody that can coach you on where to put your savings, how to save. And then, of course, the tax one, a CPA, that person who can give that advice. Those are subject matter experts. And there's a great verse that guides me on this. It's Proverbs 4:7. And it says, the beginning of wisdom is this, get wisdom. And I love that statement because it seems so simple. It's like in high school, we would say, no duh, right? That's how we would say it. Did you ever say no duh?
Yes.
No duh. Yeah. Makes me laugh. But anyhow, it's like the beginning of wisdom is this, get wisdom. But then there's a tagline that just fires me up, and it says, though it cost all you have, get understanding. And guess what? An insurance agent, they're going to get some money as part of your buying the policy. You may not have a fee, but trust me, they're making money from that policy. Now, investment advisors, they may charge an upfront fee, they may charge a sales charge, or they might take a percent of or a fractional of a percent of what you've got invested with them, assets under management. Yeah. A budget coach might charge a fee. Our fully funded life program charges a fee. If you have a tax planner, they're going to charge you money. Yeah. And they're just going to stick it right to you. And you get to pay. And you're grateful for it.
Yeah. I think the thing with this to remember is so if you have an insurance expert that you're meeting with, you're not going to ask the insurance expert what investments you should be investing in. You're going to talk to them about insurance.
Yes.
Like they are specific about that topic, that category. And so you're not necessarily, you're focused on that when you're meeting with them. When you do your taxes, you're not going to ask them, hey, how should I budget? Yeah. That's not their category. They're like, whatever.
They might have a thought.
Yeah.
Do they have depth of thought?
Right.
Do they care about that topic? That's an excellent point. And so really what you're doing here is you're building out your financial team, your investment advisor, your insurance agent, right? Your tax planner. But then the other type of coach, we talked about the content expert coach. The other one is a big picture coach. And the big picture coach, well, they talk about big picture stuff, like big picture stuff, like not just one thing, not one subject matter. Let's list a few for them.
Yeah. So maybe you have a retirement planning coach, or maybe
Yeah.
you have a college planning coach, or you could even have a lifestyle planning coach.
That's right. Hey, I want to live this type of lifestyle. I had a coaching session about 2 hours ago for a 19-year-old. They've got a lifestyle they want to fund.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm fired up to have that call.
Mm.
And sat on a call with them for 1 hour. And man, they're on their way. Because here's the deal. He's asked me to be part of his team. And I like the fire in his eyes, and he's going to do some great things. I don't care if he ever remembers my name. But I do know this, the wisdom, the encouragement, the hope, and the ongoing mentoring is going to be very valuable. I'll be a coach. So here's what we just want to say is, as you select your coaches, don't think about just one coach. You need a team. Proverbs 15:22 says, plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. So how many is many?
More than one.
Is it two? Is two considered many? I don't think two is considered
two
many.
would be considered
Is three many?
several. I don't know.
Two is like two.
Two.
Three is like, I have a few.
A few. I like a few.
3 to 4 is a few. I think 5 is many.
Many.
Okay, let's theme 5 is
5.
many. 5 equals many. Ding! Let's put it on the screen. Very good. So finding a great coach, we can ask some questions. We're going to list them here. We'll list them in some show notes as well. But I encourage you to ask some people an important question. You know, if you've got friends who are winning with money, making progress towards their fully funded life, you could ask them these questions. And one of them is, who do you trust? Another one is, who is helping you? And another is, why do you like them?
Yeah.
It's a great way is to ask people that are making progress, who's helping you? Who's your tax person? Who's your insurance agent, right? Who's helping you plan for retirement? Who's helping you plan for college? If you see somebody whose kids are going to college and you find out that they're getting their college paid for because they had planned 20 years ago and you got little kids, you need to have a conversation with them. Ask them to have the conversation. What's another way to find a great coach?
Yeah. So who has been in the community for a long time and has a great reputation? So maybe this could be the tax or the insurance broker, or, you know, somebody like that, or even somebody that's really great at budgeting. You know, somebody else might use them and say, hey, they've been here for a long time. I trust them a lot. They have a really great reputation. I recommend them.
Yeah. So that's really good. What do we say? Reputation is built over years.
Yeah.
And that builds trust. So if somebody has a great reputation, there's a really good fact. They've been in the community a long time, and they've been there a long time because they've served a lot of people really well. So go find them. You know, we talk about financial experts. Another could be a real estate agent, right? When you go to sell your house, for specificity. Another way to find a great coach is to join Fully Funded Life.
Yeah.
Now, listen, we encourage you to have coaches way beyond Fully Funded Life, but that's why Fully Funded Life exists, is to have one of those coaches. And, you know, we are focused on budget coaching, debt coaching, big lifestyle coaching, and big picture coaching. Okay. And then you need to be okay with some fees, especially if people aren't selling you anything, because it turns out it takes money for life.
Yeah.
And these people have made it their specialty, their life's calling, to become experts at whatever it is they're doing in this financial coaching arena. And if you're going to entrust your financial future to them, hey, you need to be okay with it costing money. As it said in Proverbs 4:7, though it cost all you have, get some understanding. How awesome is that? That's how you get wisdom. I started paying for listen, my insurance agent makes money off me. My tax guy makes good money off me. My investment advisor makes some money off me, right? That's a fact.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. They've helped me be able to retain a lot of it and grow it. So we know it's hard to do. We know it's hard to ask, but we do encourage you to find some coaches. Maybe we could just wrap this up with you sharing a couple of your thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, I think when it comes to coaching, it can be overwhelming, specifically when you're talking to somebody about financial coaching. It's hard to make that because you're sharing personal information. Like we say, it's called personal finances. But I think taking that step, asking somebody, you know, if it's like an insurance person or a tax person, they're obviously more used to doing that. Whereas if it's somebody that you're asking for budgeting help or something like that. But I think taking the step, I I think you'll look back and be glad that you did. And you'll look back and see the progress because of the ideal characteristics that they have.
Yep.
They're able to push you and they're able to help you and they're able to provide that accountability and the knowledge and all this stuff that we talked about earlier. That's going to help propel you towards your fully funded life, which I think is what we all want.
Absolutely. And I as we wrap it up, I just thought I would just briefly share how I found my coaches. As I think about the 4 coaches in my life, I worked with one of them. I worked for another of them. And when I saw him executing giant stock transactions, the spirit of discernment fell on me that perhaps this guy has knowledge that could help me. And he's been willing to help me. And then I found the other 2 via personal recommendation. It happened over time, but I look back and I really built that team over a course of about 4 years.
Yeah.
And I added about 1 new coach every year. And now they've been with me for more than a decade. And I can owe a lot of my financial success to those coaches. Hey, I think the same will be true for each of our listeners. I really appreciate your listening to this episode today. We really want to encourage you this month, the month of May, to start getting those names of coaches that you think could really benefit you, to go on a quest, so to speak, to build your financial team so that they can help power you up the ladder to live your fully funded life. We're going to see you next week. It's going to be the 3rd Monday of May already, if you can believe it, the 15th. Can you believe it?
That's wild.
And we're going to be talking about this, continuing the conversation about coaching. We're going to be talking about the power of consistent, ongoing coaching. And so we hope that you'll join us next week. In the meantime, think of those coaches, be bold, be courageous, and ask them to coach you. And you'll be on your way to living a fully funded life.